In this lesson, we're going to be writing our first JavaScript code. So what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a high-level, dynamic, untyped, and interpreted programming language. So what that means is that we can open up our editor and write some JavaScript code, essentially, and render that out within the browser and have that visible right away to the user. So there's some more information about JavaScript, including the history of JavaScript, more information about how to use JavaScript, and so on Wikipedia. So we've got some really good examples here about how to get started with JavaScript as well. And of course, more information, history of JavaScript. So if you are interested in it, so there's some really good information here about all the progress that JavaScript has made throughout the years. So let's open up our editor and start creating some JavaScript. So the first thing that we need to do, we're going to start out on CodePen, and we've already got HTML, CSS, and we've got JavaScript windows here opened up. So by default, it gives you the ability to write any one of these three cornerstone languages within CodePen and have it displayed here on the right-hand side. So just like with the HTML, so whatever I'm typing within the HTML, and if I do something like if I add in a line break, we see that immediately it gets delivered here in the display area. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, but you get the idea here that HTML, CSS, whatever we're typing in here, it immediately gets displayed on the right-hand window. So it's the same case for JavaScript. And with CodePen, we also have the ability to add in various libraries. So if we've got some external libraries that we want to use, and as well if we want to use any one of these pre-built libraries, we have the ability to add these in to our CodePen at any time. So the first thing that we're going to do is just write some really simple JavaScript. And one of the simplest, most functional pieces of JavaScript are alerts. So we can do something like hello world, and we can easily have it show up here. And I just need to complete this over here within the CodePen. And as soon as we finish that, we see that we get this pop-up coming up. So when we save it, and if we make any changes to here, so we see when it runs through, actually, I believe I need to make a change there in order for it to run through. We see that we get this pop-up showing up. We've got hello world. So this is a default pop-up window, and it's one of those rudimentary things within JavaScript where it runs as a built-in function. And if you're not familiar with functions, we are going to be covering that as we progress through the course. So we are going to be going through bit by bit and taking apart JavaScript. But it's important to understand that JavaScript is fully functional, and the idea for JavaScript is to create that interaction with the user. So something as simple as just this one line of code has already created the full experience for the user. So it has a pop-up window, and it has to be something that the user interacts with. So if I click off of anywhere from there, I can't actually interact with the web page till I've answered this pop-up window. So I've clicked OK, or I've closed it, or other functionality here. So I can't actually do anything until I close this pop-up window, and we're going to be discussing how this pop-up window works in the upcoming lessons as well. But for now, it's important to understand that this is what the functionality of JavaScript is, to have some interaction from the web page between the user and the web page content. So as soon as we click OK, then we can progress and continue through our coding, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So in the next lesson, we're going to look at how we can bring JavaScript into our own source code. So looking at CodePen, it isn't immediately evident how JavaScript is being brought into this HTML page. So of course, we're just simply running an HTML page, but the JavaScript is somehow functioning in it. And the way that CodePen works is we don't have any of that head information. So the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, whenever we type in CSS or JavaScript, it's automatically brought in as it would be from an external file. So I'm going to show you how to do that in the upcoming lesson.